All right, we'll give that a few seconds to populate across. And usually live on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, all the major networks, before the podcast is condensed down, distilled, if you will, into a fine spirit and wrapped up in a capsule of podcasting and sent across the wires.
That's right. Through the
So
series of tubes.
to another series of wires, to another tubes, to donkeys, back to tubes, and into your phone. Then eventually we end up in iTunes.
Ears.
What can I say? In your ears, yeah. Right in your brain, just like we're wheeling our way in. And on that happy note, we'll get this show on the road. We are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
And the summer of beers continues. I will, right at the hop, haha. It's a bit of a lazy pick on myself this week. Last week we had the hyper local version of it. We always try to swing around to something that's going to be more more widely available to everyone, but through a series of me drinking and having like some guests over, everything else, my fridge was laid bare. The best that I could do is one of my favorites, and one I will definitely recommend if you can ever find it. It is a Ontario darling, and for good reason. It's an excellent company, really cool history behind the company, and just really greatly run. Then also the beer's delicious.
Yep.
So if you can find it, if it ever comes to your town, or if you're ever in Ontario, look it up. This is Bo's Lug Tread. So lagered ale, from my perspective, it's just like crisp and clean. This is nothing. There's no grapefruits like coming out of the woods to knock on your door. Like it's just straight and beautiful and clean. It's flagship beer, a lagered ale, a hybrid style. Lug Tread is top fermented like an ale and then cold aged like a lager, giving it light ale notes complemented by lager-like crispness. Golden hued and finely balanced, this tasty golden ale has won more than 20 awards for brewing excellence since 2006. Dear listeners, I'm not sure you can find it, but if you can, have a drink. It's quite delicious. So what? Now, Jeff's pick, on the other hand, is much more interesting.
Well, I think mine is probably widely available for those that know about it.
At every corner store,
Yes.
at every backwoods liquor mart, this is around.
Yes. So mine is a 40 of Old English 800. And it was brought to me by one of my buddies at work who said, "Hey, you're turning 40. Here's a 40 ouncer to take
Malt liquor,
years off
buddy.
your life." Yeah. So this is, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about one of these, but it's I think it's made by Miller in Milwaukee, and it's basically your generic beer, smooth and sweet. It says it's flavorful, unobtrusive. Totally get that. There's a lot to drink, so if you taste it at the start, you will not taste it by the end of it. And it's just one of those ones that's, I think it's more efficient. Like you get a lot for your buck on this one, that's for sure.
It's like there's just the jokes being made about 40s. Like I remember when I was young, it was like bang for the buck, and we had this is really a tangent, but it tasted bad. This and Colt 45, it just generally didn't taste good, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
It's for a somewhat snobbish beer drinker, you're already probably not going to enjoy it too much. But it's not that it's honestly that bad. If you drink it, it's not middle of the road, you're not really going to mind it. But as a kid, like it was nasty. It was gross. Not as a kid, as a very young beer drinker. So I remember I remember the trick the one time was like, let's just put in as many limes as possible.
Oh my god.
To try to Mel was like, no, guys, and this is one of one of your friends shows up and is like, oh no, I heard this from a buddy of mine. You just need to put in a whole bunch of limes, and then you're not going to really taste it.
Right.
It was so much worse. I can't describe to you how much worse it was.
I mean, when you're younger too, it's probably warm. You probably snuck it in a backpack, and now you're putting limes in it and trying to drink 40 ounces of it. You're like, no, this is not working.
So, man, that is a fascinating pick. I love that, given how old you are, being 40. a good friend of yours gave you the 40 of old English. Oh, that's perfect.
What's gonna happen when I'm 50?
Now, what's great about these ones is that you can pour one out
Yes.
for those who are passed or for in memory of a loved one. And Jeff, you'd be looking to pour one out for your poor PS4, given how
Yes.
your kids are treating it. What is happening with the dear old PS4?
I don't know what to say, Trevor. This is like one that hits close to that gaming heart. You're like, this PS4 had served me a while. Like it has, I don't know, how old is it? Like 7-8 years, something like that. God,
Yep.
time flies. Again, I'm 40. Oh my God. So anyway, it's down in the basement as our kind of gaming TV for the kids, and I have the PS5 upstairs. So when the kids come down here, they're supposed to be able to play most of their gaming library on the PS4. And instead, I come down each day, and the PS4 is being used as a YouTube application launcher. And that's all. That's it. That's all they do on it. They go to the media tab, they go to YouTube, and there it is. And I don't remember going to that media tab when I had the PS4 as my main console. I'm like, I'm never going to use this. Why would I use this? But nope.
Kids, this is the console that launched Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
And you're telling me you're going to watch Blippi. Are you out of your mind? Like, not under my house and my rules.
It's
Like, oh, like, and it's what's wild to me. My kids will pull this too, and I'm sure gaming dads listening can relate. Is there will be screen time allotted?
Yeah.
Okay, you can be in front of screens for a while. Homework's gone well, or whatever it wants to be, right?
yeah.
And there's sometimes that choice where it's like, instead of playing a game, I'm going to watch either stupid videos that have nothing to do with anything or people playing games.
Yeah.
And your little kid inside of you that is still amazed at everything that the PS4 was is just screaming at the top of his lungs. It's like, why aren't you playing games? Like, you have so many games on one of the most capable systems imaginable. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah, to see them scroll past, because there's a lot on there because I have the external hard drive hooked up to it. So there's a lot of games sitting on
Wow.
there. And they scroll all the way past, go up to the tab, go over YouTube. I'm like, really? This is what we're doing? I mean, and just to your point with screen time. So my kids have been getting, countdown timers again with their screen time to manage it. But they get out of it by going into the YouTube application, which I guess does not count towards.
That's filthy. That's,
I'm like, oh man, you went around the system. I mean, kudos to you for figuring that out. But like, really, this is where we're at. So
that's funny you mentioned that, because I wonder if it's this time of year for the summer, because as we record this, we're right at the last month of summer. So we've had, 2 months at this point of more raucous, freewheeling time, and likely a bit more screen time as kids kind of enjoy their time off.
a heck of a lot more, if I'm being honest. Like ridiculous amounts, like ungodly amounts. But yes.
So ours had creeped up, but like at this late month, things like behavior has certainly kind of turned. Okay, you just took a swig of the 40.
Yeah.
Like, it completely derailed my thinking. It's just this massive jug
This huge jug, this 2-liter.
of like of this yellow liquid. It was just, there's nothing casual about it. It's not like it's a casual sip. It's this massive jug swig going on. Sorry,
We have to finish the beer by the end of the episode, right?
Yeah,
That's the game. Okay.
I can't wait to see that, Jeff, towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
So I'll come back around. So we got summertime, screen time generally goes up, which is a little bit okay because, hey, look, it's the summertime. You're relaxing.
Yeah.
You're enjoying yourself. I don't mind a bit more screen time. Sounds like your kids are very much the same. I think all gaming dads can relate. Their behavior this month has certainly started to go downhill, though. Like, everything's just a little bit harder. It's a little bit more tricky to get them off of the screen. There's a little bit more of talk back. I guess you'd almost say not complete rudeness, but just definitely a lot more sass than perhaps we'd want to allow. To the point where we've now just this week, it's like, okay, like, you guys, because of this, and this, like, this is a family. We need to operate properly. Like, we're not asking you to go to the moon. We're asking you to come up for dinner, and we just can't keep getting this pushback. So your screen time is now reduced by like 2 hours until you guys kind of straighten up. And like, this is kind of what we expect because we got to do this together. So it sounds like serendipitously, it sounds like you're in that exact situation in the household.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because it's getting darker at night or what, because it just seems like the days are shorter, the kids
Yeah.
are like more on edge, and maybe that's because of the, they've been kind of free flowing without too much restriction, right?
Yeah.
So when we ask them to do stuff, again, basic chore around here, they have to have their rooms clean and their laundry done before the screen goes on.
course.
And even that's kind of sliding because, my wife and I were both tired. We're working, like, we're just like trying to maintain life as
Yeah.
a thread. So, like, yeah, we're getting the talk back, the sass, and I've slowly reduced their gaming timers, their screen timers, accordingly. And then they don't like that, and I'm like, well, just earn it back. Like, it's easy, it's there, the
Be
path
good.
is laid out. It's a side quest. Do it. Like,
Upgrade your gaming time by getting
Yeah,
so many
that's-
tokens.
not a problem. You just have to show that effort, and you're good. Otherwise, yeah, you can't just sit there and again be on the PS4 or watch YouTube all day. That's not gonna fly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, if you're on the PS4 playing games,
see,
I'd
then I
maybe
can
have,
let it
like-
slide a little bit, but sorry.
yeah. So for instance, it's interesting to say slide because that did happen on our house because, and it's actually a perfect transition into another topic we're going to have. A friend of theirs, local guy, just like around the corner. So the two of them had just about got to the limit of their game time, and then their friend came in, and not for the purpose of this, but ultimately after some playtime, they ended up at the system,
Yeah.
and now they're playing 3-player co-op on Ninja Turtles, of all
Right.
things, like Shredder's Revenge, which is fantastic, like great game, right?
Yeah.
And they were in like the 15-minute window where I was about to like shut it down, right? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, you guys are coming right up to the edge, but all of a sudden now their friend is in the house. It's more communal, and the three of them are doing really well. Like they're kind of communicating, they're having a lot of fun together. And now I come down and look at it, it's like this is harder because like because now you're playing together with your friend, which I'm trying to like promote your friendships, and it's like
Right.
it strikes different. Am I wrong? Because it's just like there's something different about them in the dark basement playing a game by themselves, as opposed to, all together, a group of three of them like rambunctiously enjoying something together with like someone from the outside. Am I
Yeah.
off base? Are you kind of like in that same line?
No, I'm in that same line, and I think it immediately hits me as like growing up as a little gamer and having friends over, and we're all like, I like some of my best memories are just me and my friends gathered around the TV trying to solve whatever or beat a game, beat a boss. What like it was a great time, and I kind of like give my kids that space, right? But I swear they coordinate that. When they get to that edge of gaming times, they call up their buddy or text them or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
hey, just like FaceTime me or something so my dad can see," and then he'll like let another hour slide. I swear, like it's coordinated, which I would just slow clap. Kids, like, great, you figured out the system.
I got a $5 for you.
Yeah,
I got a Capri Sun with your name on it. If
Yeah.
you'll come in and get me an extra hour of game time because we're
Yeah.
being a social.
right. Yeah, it always seems at the end, never at the beginning, where that chunk of time is like plentiful. It's always at the tail end. So, yeah, no, I'm right with you. I will like let it slide for a little bit and then kind of reel it in if it goes a little too
Yeah.
too far.
Hey, so Gaming Dads, as we say each week, one of the greatest parts about this is hearing your own stories. So if you have something similar where it's, have you found these last months of summer, you need to kind of rein in the kids a bit because energy levels are getting a bit too peaky and starting to get a bit of talk back. Do you have some looser rules when other friends are involved because it's seen as a bit more social? Reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. We'd love to hear from you. Now, that same fella that was in the house that kind of extended their game time serendipitously, he became their first online friend
Oh,
for the Xbox. So as far as the Xbox list, they have one at home. They have a few similar games, Minecraft, Dungeons specifically. And
Good.
hey, like, what is your username?
Uh-oh.
Because I'll get my dad to add you to my list, and then we can like play together, like
Yeah.
while we're kind of apart there. And it's like, hooray! First part of the equation. Interesting. This is their first online friend, like offline online friend that
Yeah.
they could play technically in the system. Do you remember when your kid connected with their, and I'll say this, at this point I think with the ages of our kids, we're not letting them find friends online.
No, yeah.
There's a whole terrible kind of area to get into there. So this is, hey buddy, real life buddy, we both play, let me add you to my online list. Can you remember when your kid kind of first connected in that way with one of their friends?
Yes, and it was mainly by surprise because I went to my PS4 at the time.
Okay.
And I'm like, who's this username that's now added as my friend? And it was one of their buddies that they played with. Again, their aliases are like all over the place, right? I think it was like soccer ball moon guy. So that's when I found out, like, okay, hey, I think then 9-year-old, 8-year-old, you need to let me know. I can't go around putting my handle out, and not sure if their parents would approve of who they're friends with right now because they don't know. Like, my profile, it's not their profile.
Yeah. So that is the weirdest part about it, where it's and that perfectly leads into the second part of the conversation, because that is exactly what's happened. So they're not friends with my kid's account; they're friends with my account.
Yeah.
And I'm a man, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's just like there's some oddities to that. So I got to find out. And the terrible situation I put myself in from not having the foresight in creating my kids' accounts properly for when they play is like all of their saves, everything is tied into my account.
Right.
So there's other accounts on the system, and they have access to Game Pass and everything. So it's, Bob's your uncle. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know that the saves transfers from one user to the other, and that's something I'm gonna have to research.
Yeah.
So as a new dad tip, if you're gonna get your kid in the gaming, create their account and do not let them play games on yours, because otherwise it will forever be tied. And then you're in my situation, because then if your kid wants to hook up their super powerful Minecraft dungeon character with his offline buddy, he's gonna have to connect to you, a man.
Yeah. Oh god, it's like weird when you say it. But same feelings here, where it's just like, oh, this is not appropriate. And now that you're kind of saying it too, is like online games, right? It might be easy for you to move hard drive saves, or not easy, but maybe you could figure it out. But something like Fortnite or something that's Apex Online, where it's like server end, there's no way to switch that save progress, right? Because it's all kept on their end. So you got to really be careful. And then I've always said, like, PlayStation specifically needs to pump up their online to be a family subscription, because I'm not going to pay for a secondary, third, or tertiary online accounts for my 12 and 9-year-old. Like, that's insane. Like, that's $200 a year probably just for them to get online. I'm not going to do that. So, like, meet us somewhere on this. Like, even Nintendo has that, and they're really far behind on their online stuff. But
yeah, I think my only solution is to give up my handle, which is fine, because I don't have. It's okay. I have personal attachment to it.
Yeah.
So it's like I think we talked about our handles before. Like the two that I've gone with is like Half Bad, which it's much worse than I anticipated. What I mean it as, like, I'll do something like, oh, that's not half bad. That's it. It's setting the bar low.
Right. Yeah.
But
don't
instead
expect much, right?
Instead, it sounds so emo. Like, I'm half bad.
Oh,
so like,
that's true. That's
just
true.
kind of like weak. Anyway, so like and then Good Times. That one I always like. That's just like, just trying to have fun, man.
Wait, okay, so hold on. Which is your handle that this kid made friends with? Was it
Half
Good Times?
Bad.
Okay.
So we're gonna create a new one called Good Times. So I'll create the new account.
Okay.
Because there's no real big deep game that I have, or I got to do some research. I will report back.
Okay. Please
to the dads listening, if there's any way to detach my profile from the game progress, so I can boot them off of my main account.
Yeah.
Because I got to get this resolved. Like, and I'll kick off their friends. Like, we're no longer friends. Like, here's my kid's handle. You two be friends, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I had to go online a lot because you can set your profile to appear offline. I had to do that a bunch. When my kids had a profile listing of all their friends under me. I'm like, no, I'm not talking to your friends that they're up to like 11, 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, listen, I am not the friend that you're talking to right now. I am a parent. I'm trying to get the 45 minutes of gaming I can in stop talking to me.
Go to sleep. Why are you not in bed?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are your
Where are your
parents?
parents? Do you know where your kids are?
Actually, the best part is that's probably his parents.
Yeah, it could
Look at
be.
his
It could be.
It's like, hey, is this Jonathan or Jonathan's dad? Or
That
Jonathan's
is
mom?
funny. Yeah, I wonder if it was. Now I have to go back to see what they said.
Except the problem would then be you get used to that type of dynamic. And you're like, what's up, brah? Just chilling with a brew. He's like, I'm 10. You're like, oh, nuts. Wrong one.
Never mind. Never mind. Don't report, please.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
Now that segues nicely into PlayStation Plus, and specifically PlayStation Plus Premium Plus Extra. The
I
naming
mean, call it what it is. It's everything.
Platinum.
It sounds like a McDonald's combo deal.
It's awful, but the 2 points come in. Like I got on board,
Nice.
so I was curious. I wanted to give it a shot. I don't think I'm of the mind that I want to have both PlayStation and Xbox. We'll kind of see how the dynamic works.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think I'm just going to stick with one and kind of like because I already have way too many games to play
Yeah.
as it stands. So this isn't like I need more games in my life as far as the backlog's concerned. So, but given your experience, I was just curious to try it.
Okay.
Around like what is this compared to the other one, and like how's the service play out? Great so far, honestly. Like I've been playing Spider-Man. I dipped into 4 or 5 titles. Got Tony Hawk recently. That was kind of part of the Plus. Infamous Second Son, which I'd never played officially. Wanted to, and then like I said, Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Right.
Like here's the interesting trick. So I borrowed my buddy's like base level PS4,
Right.
but as opposed to downloading this, I'm actually streaming it. I'm using this
okay.
only as a streaming box because my assumption is that the version that's streaming is the PS5 version, which load times will be much faster compared to the PS4, right?
Right.
And I'll say like the load times are like there is none. You just play constantly,
Yeah.
and everything looks amazing, and the rendering is fantastic, and I'm just getting the streaming put right in. What has been interesting is that the streaming at this age of Xbox's streaming, it wasn't this good.
Okay.
Like the streaming of this Spider-Man game has been stunning, like just fantastic, super smooth. Like never really had much of an issue. There's like in a cutscene I've had sometimes kind of a bit of a break,
Right.
but more, it's the same thing you'd see like watching a Netflix sometimes, right? Just where you get like a
Wow.
little bit of blur. But it's been like fantastic. So it's compelling. It's interesting. Again, it's since I have the newer tech on the Xbox side, that's probably where I'm going to land.
Yeah.
But I'll say as a service, this thing is like, I'm really impressed. It's really fantastic. So that's me new coming in.
Right.
What's the Jeff and Jeff's home situation vis-a-vis the streaming? Because you'd always been such a holdout for it.
Yeah, I mean, like I talked last episode, like, hey, look, I have this thing, I have this service, I'm trying it out, it's great. And hearing your experiences with Spider-Man, like that's one to really like see what the input lag is on all that stuff, and it sounds like it's great. I have this whole library of stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I really want Sekiro that's on sale. So
You spend money.
I don't
And
know
you spend
why.
extra money just throwing it away.
I'm just like, yeah, here, just throw the money at screen. So I will have to circle back to that because I went off and did something else. Like, is it a side quest? Is it the main quest? I'm not sure. But I can actually now see like the streaming as part of the gaming service that I think is in this house, which I wouldn't have said before because again, I don't like playing games that may go away. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
Like one day they could be like, hey, your Final Fantasy 12, it's gone now because it's on Game Pass or vice versa, right? Like, so I wasn't sure about that, but holy man, like this has saved me a bunch of money except for when it's on sale on a game I want, and then I'll purchase that. But again, that's part of the conversation too. Is like these services would take away the sales of other games, and like obviously that's not true because if you really want it, you try it out. Again, I talk it as like a demo service. You can try out any game and then go and buy it. You know, if you feel like that pressure to finish it before it may leave the service, right? So I'm looking forward to like it evolving. I think we're in a good place right now and see where it goes. Let Microsoft and PlayStation fight it out for a bit. See
Yeah.
what lands.
I get it because I mean I've been burnt a few times now where it's like either like there was a game I'd meant to get to that left the service before I had a chance. Final Fantasy 12, exactly as you mentioned, I just did not beat. Like, I got nowhere close to beating it in time before it left,
It's a big time sink, right? So
which sucked. And I was like, I really wanted to get into that one. So, but again, I think that's almost where you could. Okay, I'll spend the $13 to like just buy it and be finished with it.
yeah,
It wouldn't be such an issue. It is great though. Like I think it's just the complete lack of any friction to start playing a game. So I want to try this or I want to try this and I want to play it. I don't have to purchase it. I don't have to download it.
yeah,
Even it's just like you can go through that entire catalog and dip into this particular title, play it around. Oh, this isn't for me. Like hop into the next one. So the entire, so all the friction, all the pain points of getting into a game and just giving it a shot are removed.
that's a good point because we used to talk about how like if you want to dip into that game that you missed out on, maybe it has an update that you have to sit through or whatever. Now it's like that's kind of removed from that part of it where with that limited game time that we have, you can get into that game, enjoy it as much as you can, and then hop out, right? So it's, what is our life worth there, Trevor? Like you're gaining all this time back, so why not, right? Like,
And eventually, once they get the mobile, once PlayStation currently, what sucks is a strong one. Once, what's too bad is right now PlayStation hasn't figured out the streaming. Although
Yeah.
technically, even Xbox hasn't either because they don't have an official app.
right?
On the iPhone, they have the mobile site, which honestly
Yes.
works just about seamlessly. But it'd be that one little bit better. But once
Right.
PlayStation figures that out too, it's like that tiny bit of gaming dad time. What do you want to play? Okay, like here's this entire catalog. I'll stream it to your phone. You can play it for just a little bit. Cloud save wherever you want it to go. You're off to the races. Like play.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then you just hook up that crossplay, and we're good, right? Like that's all we need. That's like the final piece of the puzzle. That family online service, the cross save, and we're good. We're golden.
Let's keep pushing on them. Hey, as we always like to say, people listen to this show, so eventually we'll we'll get that suggestion out into the ether.
That's
And
right.
I'm sure they're going to start to pick up on it. All right. With that, let's wrap it up there for the weeks. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, we would really appreciate a subscription. You can find this podcast on all the major podcasting services: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Caster, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Would really appreciate a subscription. A subscription really helps with the signal of the show, getting it out to as many gaming dads as possible, and especially reviews. If you can take a moment to review it on Spotify or iTunes, boost the show massively as we try to continue ramping up, continue some of the momentum we've had. Lots of new listeners this year. Speaking with you all on Twitter has been fantastic. Keep that up. Speaking of it, do you have some gaming stories? Have you dipped into streaming services, Xbox or PlayStation, and are not a fan? Are you a huge fan of it? Do you have some recommendations on games to stream, or even better, like how you and your household have managed your kids and their screen time, especially when they start to become a little PS Extra, we'll call them.
Oh, perfect.
Right?
Love it.
Pretty
That was
good.
good.
If so, we'd love to hear from you. So if you reach out to us from our website, newdadgaming.com, or on Twitter at newdadgaming. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and maybe 30 ounces left.
Oh, God. How was that sitting, by the way? Because it's probably got a little bit warm.
It's
as
got
you
a
say.
little warm. Yeah, it might have to go back in the fridge. I'm not sure how that keeps, but yeah, it's definitely not one sitting. Not at my age. So
Works every time.
that's right.
All right. Remember, everybody, just because you became a dad.
Does not mean it's game over.
All right. See you next week.
See you later.